What's up guys? I'm Lizzie and welcome to the pond. I may have gotten into a little bit of TikTok drama. So some of you may have seen one of my more recent videos that I made 2 weeks ago on 5 common mistakes I think a lot of equestrians make that are kind of harmful on the horse. And like I always do, I chop the video up into 1-minute shorts for YouTube and TikTok. And one of my videos has been performing better for me on TikTok, which also means you get a lot of people commenting things. And usually when people are commenting things, they don't know a lot. Because if you know stuff, then you realize it's not how you do it. Apparently equestrians on TikTok especially, they have fragile egos. They have very, very fragile egos. And they don't like it when you act like you know stuff. And if you act like you know stuff and you say things that might hurt their ego a little bit, they have to full on attack you, make you feel stupid, tell you, like, nitpick what you're doing. Somebody said that I shouldn't wear skinny jeans when I ride. Like, who cares? But the big thing was that somebody got rolling on my comments in TikTok was that my cinch was too long. And this was very odd for me because, I've posted over like hundreds of videos on YouTube and TikTok by now. I've never heard that comment before. And I haven't even thought about my cinch length because it seemed fine to me. I never really looked into cinch length. Obviously, I've looked into a lot of saddle fitting videos and have studied that a lot. And I just never thought twice about my cinch. I thought it was fine. But when somebody said something about my cinch length, everybody jumped on that train. Everybody had to tell me that my cinch was too long. My cinch was too long. Did you know my cinch was too long? Your cinch is way too long. Lots of comments. And everybody thinks they're so clever when they tell me that. Like, how embarrassing that my cinch is too long. Why should I be giving advice if I have a cinch that's too long? So obviously I was a little bit confused and I was a little bit worried that my cinch was too long. So I went down the rabbit hole and I did all the research and I came up with some conclusions. I made a response video and I posted it on TikTok. But I thought my findings were very interesting and helpful. And I was planning on posting as shorts on YouTube, but that only allows you 1 minute and my video is a little bit longer than that. And I wanted to just post the whole video as a whole. So I'll let you watch the video and then I'll come back in a little bit. Y'all want to talk about my cinch length, so let's talk about it. So I did a deep dive, did a bunch of homework and trying to figure out what the proper cinch length is supposed to be, what it's supposed to look like, the parts of the body that you're supposed to avoid touching with your cinch. Here are some of the things I've learned. First of all, the length of the cinch you have is going to vary a lot depending on the type of rig you have, depending on your horse, and depending on the type of cinch you get. So what a lot of you are saying, and I've also seen this a little bit in my research, is that you want 8 inches in between the D-ring and the buckle. But this is not a rule of thumb. This is not something you're supposed to follow all of the time. Because like I said, the type of saddle you have is going to change that, the type of cinch you have is going to change that, and the type of horse you have is going to change that, depending on their height and their weight. So I have a saddle with a drop D-ring, which is going to change the distance between my D-ring and my cinch just a little bit. Because if I kept 8 inches between my cinch and the D-ring, that would put my cinch in a very bad place. You don't want your buckle down in here behind the horse's elbow or in this soft tissue area. That can be very painful for the horse and cause a lot of issues. So I don't recommend doing that. My horse is a half Icelandic, so she's a little bit on the shorter side. She's like 13.3. So from my research, they say that if your horse is a little bit shorter, you can also take away 1 inch or 2 in between this distance. So 5 or 6 inches should be fine between your buckle and your D-ring. And if you have a cinch like me where the buckle does not have any padding behind it, you want it a little bit on the higher side because you do not want this metal piece down in this area at all. Now I'll go ahead and tighten my cinch up. Also, if you're not able to find the perfect cinch length for your horse, it's better to go a little bit longer than a little bit shorter because, again, you do not want to be down in this area at all. So it's better to go a little bit longer. And another thing I want to mention is that you want the buckle of your cinch to be just below the widest part of the horse, which is usually right around this area. And that'll help keep the buckle just a little bit off the horse. Also, it'll help keep the saddle from sliding side to side because it won't be able to go over the widest part of the horse. But for curiosity's sake, I wanted to measure the length between the D-ring and my buckle. I had to steal my sister's cloth measuring tape for this. So hopefully she doesn't mind. All the way tight, we're at 7 inches. I have this as tight as I ever would put it, and it's also even on both sides. It's the exact same length on the other side. I also followed a tutorial on how to map your horse's back to find out the perfect placement for your cinch and where not to put it. And from my mapping, which is probably a little bit sloppy and off, was that from this muscle down to right here and to over here is the no zone. You don't want your cinch at all in this area or at all in that muscle. So those were no zones, but this was a good zone, and right up here was a good zone, because like some English saddles have their buckles up here. And after I marked it out and I had this zone as the safe zone, I used this little trick where you find the center of the horse's chest, you put your hand all the way down, put your tape measure right in the center, you bring it up to that safe spot. Mine reads 16 inches, so you plus that together, it'll be 32, and that's the length your cinch is supposed to be. I hope this clears things up a little bit. And for the person saying that my saddle pad was not tented, I always tent my saddle pads. Plus I have a weather relief saddle pad, so there's that too. But thanks for the concern. The cinch placement is actually very important, and apparently a lot of people don't know the correct placement. And I think a lot of people think that the cinch needs to be lower than it's supposed to be. But after posting that video, somebody that has been commenting on my videos about my cinch length and how it's supposed to be 8 inches from the D-ring to the buckle, came on and changed her tune that the buckle was supposed to be 3 or 4 inches above the elbow of the horse, which I think is still too low and would put your buckle right around the pectoral muscle. That's a very important muscle to keep off of because it is what helps the horse move. But anyways, nobody wants to take advice. Everybody wants to be the critiquer. But how can you critique if you never take advice, if you're never learning anything? It helped me go down a rabbit hole though. It helped me learn a lot more about cinches and girthing. And maybe my cinch could even be an inch or two shorter. Probably. It might be a little long, but it's not causing any damage. I pay very close attention to my horse's sweat marks and her rubs. She's never been at all irritated by the cinch there. She's never had any bad rubs or marks there. I'm always making sure that the buckle is not getting dug into her shoulder while she's walking. She's got free range of motion, and it's definitely not rubbing on her ribs like some people were saying. And if I was to get a new cinch in the near future, I might get one that was an inch or two shorter, but I really don't think it's super necessary because, like I said, I know my cinch isn't causing my horse any pain, but I just thought it was funny. I'm glad I know more about cinching now, and I thought it would be helpful to share it with you. And in my video from 2 weeks ago, one of the mistakes that I was talking about was people that hike the latigo over their shoulder to tighten it. And apparently that is more common than I thought, and a lot of people say they do it because they can't physically tighten it the other way. So something I recommend for that is getting a cinch with a roll buckle, because that makes tightening way easier and it's way more gentle on the horse. So I do recommend that. That's it for this video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, give a big like and subscribe. Don't forget to be nice, because it's free to be nice. I post new videos every single Sunday. You guys can go follow me on Instagram and TikTok, and I'll see you guys next week, Sunday. Bye!